To make an overbust corset with scoop neckline like this, you need to know or be very familiar with some pattern making techniques as well as some pattern alteration techniques. In this tutorial, I will share with you how I altered pattern to get this overbust corset with scoop neckline, as well as every other thing that you need to do to get this perfect corset. So right here, I'm just putting notches to ensure that all the sides or parts matches very well, okay? And all that I am going to teach in this tutorial. So let's get right into it. Hi creatives, Dimma here, and on this tutorial I'll be sharing with you how to make an overbust corset with scoop neckline. Here is the shoulder and the shoulder slope, as well as the side bust dart and armhole. I'll be showing you how to take some basic measurements that are used in this pattern making, okay? So here is the shoulder. You just take from one shoulder bone to the other, and that is what I did. You divide by 2 and impute there. So here is the across chest. This is how to measure it. Measure down 5, okay? And then measure there. So that is 5 like this. Then you measure 5 like this and measure across like this. That is for across chest, okay? Now, having done that, you divide your measurement by 2 and impute it there, okay? This is what you'll be using to draw the armhole from the shoulder slope to the across chest, and then where it strikes the bust measurement by the side. So this is how to take the armhole measurement. You measure around the arm like this and just add 2 inches, okay? You measure it tightly, not so tightly, but let it be firm, and then you add 2 inches to your measurement. You divide it by 2, and that is what you are going to impute on the armhole using the shoulder measurement, the across chest measurement, and of course when it touches the bust measurement by the side. So here is the waistline, and you measure like this to get the front length. You also measure like this to get the back length, okay? So that is what I have here. That is the front length, and at the back pattern there, I have the back length. So now you can see what the pattern looks like, and this is the side bust dart, which is the difference between the front length and the back length. Here I have 1/3. That is the difference between the two, okay? So having said that, this is the blouse length and this is the front pattern. That is 25 inches length, but it's supposed to be about 26, but I already know the measurement of the quantity of the fabric I have, the lace I'll be using for this tutorial, and I have to make sure that it is enough for this, okay? So right now, this is how the dart is supposed to go. We are supposed to take our dart straight on like this, but because I'm using a Victorian corset pattern, this is what you would do. Look closely, watch closely to see what I am doing. So right here, you just measure down. This is just the black blouse length I took there. So just measure in from the center front there at the hemline and mark about 2 to 2.5 inches and just make a slant like this to the bust point. Beautiful. Now this is the line that we are going to take our dart on. 1/2 inch on both sides of that line on the waistline. 1/2 inch this way and 1/2 inch that way. So we are going to connect it to 1 inch to the bust point, like a dart, like this. So we are also going to take it down to the hem of the top and mark it like this. Just draw your dart leg, and this is what we have. Now, having done that, you mark what your under bust is, or you measure it from the bust point to your under bust. Just mark the under bust level and draw a short horizontal line like this. Now you're going to take your ruler this way. You take 3/4 inch, then 1/4 inch this other way, okay? Now having done that, you just use the ruler like so. Watch closely to see what I'm doing to connect to the waistline, to the dart leg like this. Connect it to that under bust tightening. That is what I did now is called. So having done this, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and take adequate measurements as needed. Watch closely to see what I'm doing. I'm just taking the measurement. I'm just connecting the under bust to the bust point. So you use the cuff part of your pattern master, that is the armhole cuff part, to curve it to the bust point like this. Now, having done this, I will just go ahead and continue the pattern making. So here I'm taking the point I want to mark the next dart, and that is here. I'll take 1/4 inch on both sides of this after drawing my straight line. Watch closely to see how I'm going to draw this straight line, okay? So here I measured 2 3/4, and on the waistline 2 3/4 from the previous dart, okay? 2 3/4 from the previous dart. Now 2 3/4 again from where this dart ends at the waist, and then from here I came in by 1.5. I just had to connect these 3 points. Note that the waist measurement here is 2 inches less than the regular waist measurement because it is snatched. Now I marked 1/4 inch on both sides of this dart, and I'm connecting it just as you can see me do. So having done that, I'll also take it to the hemline, and this is what I have. Now I'm going to add back this 1/2 inch, that is 1/4 on both sides of this dart. That is what I just added to the waistline. Note that the waist measurement of this pattern is 2 inches less than the regular waist, okay? That is what I used to make the pattern. Like if the waist is 40, I used 38 divided by 4, and that is what I marked as the waist measurement plus that intake of 1. Because I took 1, that is why I added this 1/2 inch that I used for extra darts, okay? So what I'm doing right now is just to draw the scoop neckline. Now I'm just using the pattern master as a guide to get the real drawing that I want. You can see that I moved in a little bit, a little from the one I got from the pattern master, just to get the perfect scoop that I want. So having done this, I now have to draw a vertical line like so to get the overbust tightening. Overbust tightening, I have to take 3/8 and 3/8 by both sides, by the 2 sides of this vertical line, okay? 3/8 this way and 3/8 the other way, because I do not want to tighten it so much, okay? As you can see on the picture, the overbust is not very tight, is not so contoured, and that is why I took 3/8, 3/8. You can take as much as 1 depending on how firm you want the overbust to look. So having said this, I will just go ahead and start doing other things that need to be done. So here is the yoke, and I'm going ahead to cut it out. Please keep this yoke if you will be needing it, okay? Sometimes you need to drape the yoke on the corset and all that. This yoke comes handy if that is the style you want to use and do your yoke, okay? You can drape it on top of this corset after it has been sewn, okay? But if you don't need it, you can trash it. So I'm just keeping that aside, and I will go ahead to cut out this pattern. So guys, here I am cutting the center front. You can see the tightening there. I have removed it. That is the overbust tightening. So I'll go ahead and close the side bust dart and use my masking tape to close it. You can see that the dart has moved. The second dart, the smaller dart, has moved. But don't worry, you see how I am going to redraw that dart right now. Now this dart has moved, and I am going to be redrawing it like so. So just place your ruler like this and connect it, and also place on the other side and connect it. So that is how to redraw your dart. And our pattern is definitely complete. Note that the waist is snatched because it's a smaller waist. I did not snatch the bust, just the waist, guys. So this is just how to draw your Victorian corset pattern, and this is what the Victorian corset pattern looks like. I'll go ahead and put notch lines so that I'll get perfect matches. So I put single on the first one and double on the second one. Guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel and you have watched up to the stage, what are you waiting for? Do well and join the family, and you will get the simplest techniques to making your fabulous dresses. Okay, my aim is to make pattern making simple and easy, starting from scratch, from basic pattern making. Okay, so right now I will just go ahead and take the back, across back. Watch closely to see what I did. Just come down by 5. You know this is a miniature form, that is why I got 3. It is 5 on regular human, between 5 and 5.5. So just measure it and measure your across back. Here I just took the neck drop for front, and now I had to drop it further by 5.5 inches for the back. So total dropping for the back, from the beginning of that horizontal line, the first line I drew, is about 8.5 inches. Okay, so this is how I drew the scoop for the back. It's about 8.5 inches, but I had to drop it to the front neckline level and then drop it again by 5.5 so that I'll get the definite drop that I want. That is how I like measuring mine. So you can see me draw the slant line just to get that Victorian look for the back, and I am drawing the second one here. So that is just it. I will just go ahead and take my dart intake, that is, take my dart measurement. So on the waistline, I'm just going to divide the dart that I'm going to take into 2 for the back, into 2 equal parts. That is the 1/2 inch. The 1 inch I'm supposed to take, I'm taking half on one dart and half on the second dart. That is 1/4 inch on both sides. I hope you understand. So having done that, I will just connect to the hem, just as you can see me do. Note that the hem of this dress took almost the hip measurements of my clients. Okay, if you want to know how to make a basic torso foundation, I'll link it in the description so that you see how to make this pattern from scratch. See that tutorial and you will thank me later. So having done this, I will just go ahead and come in here, because I'm making a provision for loops. I will want to use gourmets, that is eyelet holes, for the lacing. So I'm just drawing what is okay for me for the eyelet holes or for the back opening. So having done this, you can see what I have there. If you want zipper on this dress, please go ahead and leave it. Do not cut out this part. I want to lace it up and get that full snatched overbust corset look. Okay, so here I've cut out the back, and this is what I have. This is for when you want zipper. Do not bother cutting it out. You use it like this. I'm using chinox for the interlining of this lace. I'm using cord lace and chinox for this tutorial. So you can use Duchess, you can use crepe. I used something that is a bit stretchy so that even when it's snatched, it will still be very comfortable. Please, this chinox is not thick, it's in between, it's medium weight fabric, it's not thick like the regular chinox. Okay, so having done this is what I'm going to be using for the interlining, and the lace will be the fabric. So this is what I have. I have my front pattern here, and I also have the back pattern. I'll be cutting it out and cutting out all the parts that I will not be needing. Okay, the shaded parts, I will not be needing them, and I'm going to really remove all of that. I'm going to remove all of that. So you can see what I'm doing. I've removed every part that I will not be needing. So this is what it looks like. This is what the front pattern looks like. Beautiful. So this is it. And I'll go ahead and cut this using my interlining. I've folded the interlining. As you can see, the interlining is on fold. I said it's chinox, but it's medium width. It's not thick, like really thick as chinox. Okay, so I'm using it like this, and I will go ahead and use my dressmaking pins to pin it down, just like so. And I'll go ahead and cut it out. Now, when I cut out, the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and put my notches. These notches are so important. I put the bust points on the bust and the notch for matching the fabric so that you don't match it wrongly. So important is a sewing technique, and yes, I thought to share every bit of it here with you, my lovely fam, so that you will know how I do stuff like this, so that it doesn't get difficult to handle. So these are the notches, the single notch there at the center front after the underbust. This is the bust point, this is the underbust, and this is the single notch for matching the fabric, and this is the double notch here that is going to match the third part of the front pattern. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and also cut this other part. So I'll cut it out like this, and then also draw the notches and the seam line, the seam allowance by the side, which is about 1.5 inches, 1.25 to 1.5 inches. I just marked it, and I'll go ahead and notch. So when we notch like this, when you notch like this, it will be so easy to match, because my aim is to make dressmaking quite easy to understand, from pattern making to sewing. Yes, that is my aim, always. If you have any question, please go ahead and ask, and I'll be in the comments to answer your questions. So here is it. I will just go ahead for the back and cut this part of the back, because I don't need it. But if you need it, if you want it to be a zipper, you can go ahead and leave it and use it as a zipper, which is equally okay, but it is not going to be as snatched as when it is laced up. That is the simple truth. So right now I am cutting out the pattern pieces. Note that you use something stretchy. I used chinox and it's stretchy. You can use Duchess, you can use crepe. Yes, you can still use satin, but definitely satin will not be as comfortable as a fabric that is stretchy. That is what I'm trying to say. So I use stretchy fabric because when you use it, you will be snatched and you will be comfortable. Yes, that is why I like it. So right now I'll just go ahead and pin down the back pattern. You can see the notches, the notch marks that I placed already on the pattern. I'll go ahead and cut out everything same way on fabric and ensure I put the notches, because those notches are so important. If you don't put them, you're going to be confused which part joins to which part. Please ensure you do that. That is why I also put my seam allowances, the notches for my seam allowance, especially the side. I know that the other sides are half. This side I put down mark, because once I'm sewing, I hardly take measurements, because I know that the final is going to be perfect, because I've already taken my notches right. Okay, so right now I'm taking the notches for joining this together, and this is what it looks like. I've cut it on fabric, and this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and cut it on the lace as well. And yes, this is a pattern making tutorial. In my next tutorial, I will be sharing the sewing process of this lovely corset top. and you will not want to miss it, guys. Did you enjoy this tutorial? Give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments. Yes, and thank you for stopping by to always watch my videos. I love you all, guys, and of course I will see you in my next one. Bye.